If you've ever seen a couple and thought they seem inseparable, you ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you for joining me for my review of Together. I was really looking forward to this. I haven't enjoyed any horror movies yet in the month of July. I was waiting for this month to give me something good in the genre that I love, and we finally got one. Despite some drama surrounding the production of this movie, which I will touch on a bit later, I was definitely looking forward to getting some body horror. You've got Alison Brie and Dave Franco, who moved to this new house in the woods, and they stumble across this mysterious area in the woods underground, and there's some water down there, which they end up drinking, and from that point on, some weird shit begins happening with their bodies. They're mysteriously drawn towards each other, and connections between them start happening in ways more intimate than people are supposed to be connected. And it's a great setup for body horror. It's a great commentary on relationships. In many ways, this is like a romantic drama, and the issues the characters are undergoing are just represented by and exemplified by body horror elements. I really liked the two of them as a couple. You would expect, as a married couple in real life, they would be able to sell that. They would have great chemistry, and they do. They're completely genuine. They feel totally believable together, and I love the way this movie addresses relationships, especially from Dave Franco's character's point of view, because he is a struggling musician. He's in his mid-30s. He's still trying to make it, but he just hasn't hit that big time yet. And Alison Brie is more stable, and she's totally been loving him and supporting him this entire time, which he's incredibly grateful for. And he, because of that, is kind of the one who needs the other person in the relationship a bit more than she needs him. But because of that, he's also the one who's less certain about staying in the relationship because he's insecure about where he is in his life, and he feels like he hasn't gotten to do what he has truly wanted to do, and he's kind of been brought along onto her path in life rather than being on his own. So it has a lot to say about codependency and the health of a relationship and how difficult it is to know sometimes whether or not you should stay in one. It gets to the point where you question, do we still really love each other, and should we stay in this relationship, or is this just something that we're used to? And the effort and the risk involved in changing it, we're just too scared to jump into that. I've experienced that. A lot of people have experienced that. And I think this movie portrays it really well because it's not like a toxic relationship by any means. They get to some points where they have fights as couples just normally do, where they say a few things they don't quite mean, or a few things that they say in a harsher tone than they meant, but you can tell that that love is genuinely there. They care about each other, and maybe there would be ways to address it, things you could do to change things in your lives that could still allow you to be together, and maybe that would be for the best. Or maybe it's best to cut it off now because it would just be harder to do so later, and it's really hard to know what the right decision is. And I love the way this movie examines that, because there are these moments that are really awkward where somebody says something and it's just followed by silence because you could tell they crossed a line, and you could tell, I think this relationship might be past the point where it should have ended. But then there are also a lot of moments that feel like maybe we're kind of complacent because we've just reached that point of comfortableness and connection with each other. And maybe it is all right. Like, I like the way it kind of leaves it up to you to determine how you feel about this relationship. It has its pros and its cons, and it's kind of just a discussion starter. And it can easily make people like re-examine relationships that they have in their own lives. And because we were taking a nuanced look at this relationship, that also made the movie less predictable. I had a general idea where we were going, I got it, but in terms of the ending, I'm like, okay, are we gonna be saved by the power of love? Are we gonna be saved by the power of breaking up? Are we not gonna be saved at all and it's gonna be a mess? I really had no idea. And I love the way that these supernatural elements start affecting them. Of course, you get the body horror where they literally start to get closer to each other, but also in more unique ways where, like, if one of them starts moving in a certain direction, the other person's body will be compelled to move in the same way. Things like that. That is just a really good way of representing, very obviously, like, it's very clear what the message is the whole time. It's very clear where it's going. But it's just done really well, and it's really interesting, and it's something that's applicable to many people's lives and experiences through some really cool body horror shit. This is directed by Michael Shanks, and I believe this is his first feature film. He did a really good job with this. I really love the visuals. I love the way that it's shot. It's really funny as well. It's quite a lighthearted tone despite having some heavy topics and some gnarly scenes. It's definitely trying to go for fun, and whether it's the secondhand embarrassment you get from like the awkward cringe couple moments or just genuinely funny dialogue between them, it was really fun. I also really like the lore that we get here as it explains why this is happening to them. Sometimes in a movie like this, you could over-explain. It's like, that doesn't really matter. All that matters is what's happening. You can keep it mysterious. But here we get a pretty in-depth explanation as to this area and these people that are involved with this and why this is happening. And I actually thought it was really intriguing. I really liked the lore that they built around this supernatural concept. You definitely should go in knowing what this is. I expected more of just like a body horror extravaganza where they start combining and melding in crazy ways early on, and then it just gets more and more insane and extreme. And it's not really like that. It actually takes its time. It takes a while to really ramp up what's happening between them and delve into them as characters, as people, as a couple, and examine them. And I really liked that because I really liked the performances, I liked these characters, and I liked all of its commentary on these real issues. And so I was totally fine with that, but I did go in kind of expecting the body horror to come in sooner and stronger. I'm excited to watch it again one day, like knowing more of what it's like, but you definitely need to know it's not like the craziest, grossest movie you've ever seen. I wish it had gone harder with that. I wish we had gotten some more insane visuals. There's some pretty good ones. There's some practical effects that look really nasty in a good way. Some just conceptual things. It's more on the conceptual level of the things that are happening to them where you realize, oh, how horrific that would be to be stuck in such a position, in all of the weird ways that their bodies start interacting with each other. The nightmare of thinking about that actually occurring. There's some really creative stuff in there. There's some really good effects, but you know, it's not like the craziest body horror that I've ever seen. I personally would have appreciated if it went harder with that. Also, there is some CG, unfortunately. You kind of have to if you're gonna show their bodies like magically fusing together in real time. You kind of have to use CG there, I understand that, but that's the part that's more like, okay, conceptually crazy, but I'm not really getting a lot out of the visuals in those scenes because it's very obviously fake. There are also a few dream sequences, a few tiny jump scares, not a lot, not very egregious. One of the dream sequences in particular actually had some pretty creepy visuals accompanying it, just a little bit too much for my taste, like one fewer. I don't need those extra little jumps. The movie is fine without those things. Luckily, it's not too bad. So definitely know what you're getting into. It is for people who can handle the body horror shit, but it is primarily like a romantic drama comedy that uses those elements to great effect to tell it. And that's one thing that horror has always been good at, using those horrific elements to instill depth into characters and tell interesting stories and make actual commentary. Just know that it's not like a crazy thrill ride the whole time. It definitely takes its time building. Not perfect, but I definitely had a good time. It was an early screening, so the theater was pretty packed, and there was a lot of laughter, a lot of reactions. People seemed to be enjoying it, so yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. And there was this whole thing where somebody who made an indie film or a short film or something claimed that this film was ripping them off. There were many similarities, some of them very specific. And when I saw the list of similarities, I was like, oh my God, that's like really specific. I don't know that that can be a coincidence, but there has been quite a bit of information released about this film since then, showing like when the script was written, when it was submitted, all of this stuff that shows sufficiently to me that I don't think they stole it. It's just interesting that would happen to a movie like this, a movie about two people joining together when you're talking about two people in the real world actually having like the exact same idea around the same time. Because you gotta remember that can happen. There are 8 billion of us fuckers, and we're gonna have similar ideas. And once you have an idea, the ideas that branch off of that are kind of limited. Like there's a natural direction you're likely to go in once you have an idea, and it is not inconceivable that two people at the same time could take very similar stories in very similar directions, and all I'm saying is not to be absolutist about that kind of thing. Don't say it must be this, because you simply do not know that. So I say the movie is worth giving a chance to. It's a fun time. I enjoyed it. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree with anything I talked about here. We can have that conversation. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe so you can see more from me. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next time.